Hey everyone, Meinke here from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers. We're back in Allen Park. Lions have their first preseason game in the books, Justin, and today was their first day back on the practice field. And the biggest thing we saw was Nick Fairley practicing with the twos. That was a distinction Caldwell said after practice, not to make too much of. But at the same time, Fairley practices every day with Ndamukong Suh next to him. And today, Ndamukong Suh was out there with the first defensive line, and Nick Fairley wasn't. And furthermore, Nick Fairley, who likes to joke with other guys and all this stuff, and is with other players often during scrimmages. He was by himself during scrimmages today, during 11-on-11s. What do you make of all this?
Caldwell can tell us not to make too much about it, but as soon as he puts it out there, puts a player in that position where we see it, we're going to make something out of it. To me, this is straight up accountability. This is a guy that has questionable work ethic his entire time here. His weight is yo-yoed up and down. We've seen that. We've seen him lollygag during stretches, and Jim Schwartz never held him accountable. They let Fairley get away with being Nick Fairley, and this staff has talked about accountability, and we're finally seeing it here in this really small instance. Maybe he's back with the first unit tomorrow, but sometimes it just takes that one time to kind of light a fire under you.
We saw a lot of problems from Nick Fairley last year, from weight to not stretching to whatever, to some poor play during the season. I never saw him repping with the twos. I never saw him physically moved like this as he was by this staff, so I think that is encouraging. They talked in the offseason about accountability, your point, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that today. The two biggest theories kind of floating around about why this could be happening is, one, maybe his performance from Saturday. C.J. Mosley went on record today saying that many of the defensive linemen were not happy with the way the unit played. Did not single out Fairley, but they were not happy with the way the unit played. And this other thing could be the weight, as you mentioned. He's way too much in the past. He did drop the 30 pounds before minicamp, but then he shows up for training camp 10 pounds heavier, and who knows where he's at right now. I asked Caldwell specifically if he was concerned, if he was comfortable with his weight right now, and he gave me a bunch of words, none of which answered the question. And I followed up with, Jim, that's not an answer. Is that a yes? And he's like, you can take that how you want. So he definitely didn't close the book on the weight issue, but we don't know for sure why this was or how long it'll be.
I'll go back to Jim Caldwell's first day here. He talked about intrinsically motivated players. It's not Nick Fairley. I've said all along, when they didn't pick up his fifth-year option, it really surprised a lot of people. And, to an extent, surprised me. It goes back to that Nick Fairley is not a Jim Caldwell-type player. He's not. They're going to let him play out the season. He's extremely talented when motivated. Yep. He's one of the probably 5 best defensive tackles in the NFL, motivated and healthy. And if this is just another thing that sparks that motivation, the Lions will take whatever they can get out of Fairley this year. But this is it. This is Nick Fairley's last year here. I find it hard to see it any other way. You just can't change who you are at this stage in your career.
That's what we got. Certainly a storyline we'll be watching tomorrow night. Lions back on the practice field at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow. Special practice, not for us, certainly, because we hate nighttime practices. But it's for the vets, and it's for, who else will be here? Vets and
first responders.
First responders. So it's kind of a cool thing they're doing for those groups of people. Keep it right here at MLive. For Justin Rogers, I'm Meinke.